There's a comeback. Yeah, we own it. Off the brim where the real ones rise. Gentlemen's roundtable, no disguise. From the struggle, from the weight, from the fight inside. We don't quit, we rebuild, we redefine. Welcome to Off the Brim.
Facebook has pictures from Disney.
All right, gentlemen. That was a great intro by Dub. I thought we were going to be doing some kind of Macarena or something, but I did some dance moves I haven't done since I was probably 18. Yeah. All right. So everybody watching, we'll give everybody a few minutes to tune in and everything. Go ahead and do some introductions. Myself, I'm Reviews of Moose. Everybody knows my story, how I started the YouTube and doing weight loss. And I'm wearing the Foreman by Peaky hat today.
Nice.
And now we're going to go to Roundtable. Josh, let's go ahead and hear about you, bud.
Yep, I'm Josh Jurd. I created the Walkabout Nation Facebook page due to my going for a walk to lose weight. I've lost about 130 pounds. There's always more to the story, which we'll get into later. And I'm wearing the Boston Scally 10th anniversary with the Dixon 5th Avenue and the official Walkabout Nation sweatshirt.
Nice.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Brandon at Dub's Hat Hub. I'm on a weight loss journey myself. I've had some ups, I've had some downs. Sometimes it seems more like downs, but I'm still hanging in there trying to do my thing. I'm wearing the Shelby Co cap tonight from Funky Brims. It's a Hell's collab, and I'm just glad to be here, and I'm excited to hear everybody's stories.
Hey, I'm Patrick, otherwise known as the Southern Scally Capper here on YouTube. I have had actually a weight loss journey of my own, and then also even a bigger aspect of my life. I was born a congenital heart patient, so I have actually had 2 open heart surgeries. And tonight I am wearing the Happy Gilmore by the Boston Scally Company.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Go ahead, Ed.
Hey guys, of course, Ed the tax guy here. Well, first and foremost, I'm wearing one of my favorites, the Aficionado by Boston Scally. It's an oldie but a goodie right here. And my journey just started with I gained too much weight from being lazy, and then I needed a way to lose it. And between fitness, the gym, proper dieting, I found what works for me. My wife and I are doing this together, which is the best part. We always joke around, we got fat together, we're going to get skinny together. And
That's right.
Yeah, so it's
True love.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we've been together almost 25 years now, so we've seen each other at our best and our worst, and we're going to keep going.
Awesome.
But
That's awesome.
yeah, in fall of 24, I want to say like October, November is when I officially joined a gym in my town, and I got serious. And there's been some ups and downs, obviously it's never perfect, but I've managed to drop a lot of weight, get myself in much better shape than I've been at any point in my life, even when I was young. And it's just, everything was just better moving forward now.
You're looking good, man. I can tell a big difference. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're good.
What's going on, guys? I'm Anox from Anox Unbox, YouTube reviews that I do on my channel. Also all over those Facebook pages. Also design t-shirts that I sell, which a lot of you guys have. I'm wearing the Monty Strong. I thought this would be appropriate for today. It's about overcoming things. Got the Monty Strong bicep pin from Pinhead Pins, and great cap here I got from Rod Craft. And those of you who don't know, his grandson's battling leukemia. So I thought I'd represent for little Monty today. He's always in my prayers. And my entire life I've been up and down in weight, never too fat, but fat, and also too skinny at times, so I've been all over the place, and I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life right now at 46. So I think that's huge, and I just wanted to share some of that. We'll talk about it later.
My name's Chad, first 508th on YouTube. First 508th Airborne. My channel name comes from I was an infantry paratrooper at the 82nd Airborne. I'm also a retired animal warden. My YouTube channel started as a vlog of my recoveries after I had received a crippling injury at work on the job. The cat I'm wearing today is the Peaky Hat Gallant or Galleon.
It's a nice cap. Like it.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so those tuning in, that's our introductions here. What we're gonna hit a lot of stuff on this episode. We're gonna hit up on weight loss, the determination to quit, the way you want to quit sometimes and go back to revert. It's a struggle. The struggle is real. And then we're gonna hit like redemption of life with Patrick and Chad. And then Ed, who's doing a transformation, and he's next time I go up to New York, he's probably gonna want to be able to kick my ass doing MMA and stuff. So I don't know. But, just don't let these hands get a hold of you.
I don't know. Moose looks like a pretty big guy, man. I wouldn't mess with Moose. He used to be a bouncer. Yeah.
And so I'm gonna go ahead and start off telling share my story here. I know most of you guys always follow along. I'm actually getting back into the gear now here. I had a couple injuries for me training for a marathon, and it kind of had to put the kibosh on the whole marathon thing for me. But I had a soleus muscle issue, and then I got plantar fascia issue to where I really haven't been able to do much since November. I'm starting to walk more now again, but I'm far from where I was back in when my daughter got married in September. And I actually weighed myself yesterday morning, and I have gained 25 pounds since my daughter's wedding back in September. And it's not that I changed my eating habits. It's just I'm not mobile. So it's that's why I've just been struggling at. And now I got to just get back in the groove and just fight through the plantar fascia and just start getting those miles. Luckily, the last few days I've been walking my daughter's dog Hooper and getting back in the cycle of it. And that's everybody pretty much knows my journey on here. And but I'm just glad everybody's able to join us. Nice to meet all of you guys all together here.
Yeah.
And big fan. And we're not just talking about the success. We're talking about the struggles and everything else. We're just not just what we're going through, but life in general. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and hit up. Anybody have any questions? First of all, anybody have any questions before we start getting into Chad's story?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Let's let it ring, Chad. Let's hear it.
I guess my story is about how I found the key to happiness from a crippling injury. I was an animal warden. I did that for 2 decades. For about the last decade of that, I used to work third shift doing all the emergency animal related calls for the city. Any call that the police would have involving animals, both wildlife and domestic, I typically responded to. One night I was impounding a dog that had been hit by a car. I got it in the back of my truck. It was the middle of winter, and a pickup truck fishtailed around the corner and hit me, knocked me about 30 feet, kept going. It was a hit and run. It caved in my floating ribs on my left side. Two of my discs in my back, I no longer have discs. It's bone on bone, and then the other 3 levels are badly herniated. This left me unable to walk for a while. I was pretty much bedridden. I used a cane for several years. For about a year, I got really depressed. I was on massive doses of painkillers. When you're in that kind of pain, it becomes like a really oppressive, heavy weight that you can't get under or out from under. And the painkillers weren't doing anything for me. They just made me feel sick 24/7. And I was just in a bad spot. I knew if I stayed on them, I wasn't going to probably be around that much longer. I could just feel my body falling apart. The only really surgical intervention they offered me was a morphine pain pump. I wasn't eligible for like a spinal fusion because I had degenerative vertebral and disc disease, and my vertebrae wouldn't hold any screws for any kind of fusion or anything. And again, I just became really depressed. I was just in a bad place. And then I started getting angry at myself for allowing myself to get there. And I decided I had to make some kind of change. And so I went off all my medication cold turkey. I got like incredibly ill for about 3-4 weeks. And then I just started forcing myself to walk every day. First it was around the block, then it was a couple of blocks, half mile, a mile. And then I started forcing myself to walk without the cane. I got myself a German Shepherd. So I had something to motivate me to start walking every day. I didn't have an excuse. And I made sure it was a dog with a long coat because I live in Minnesota, and I was going to do this no matter what the weather was. And the main thing that I really started working on was to change my mindset, and to stop dwelling on what I had lost and start dwelling on the little accomplishments I was making. I was able to walk this much farther this day, or once I started doing calisthenics again, I was able to do this many more push-ups or pull-ups. And I found by concentrating on those little achievements and not focusing on what I lost. Again, I've always been a really athletic person my whole life. I've played sports my whole life, worked out my whole life, martial arts my whole life. Instead of concentrating on what I lost, I was focusing on what I was achieving. I also found that trying to cultivate a cup half full attitude in everything that was happening in my life, you can always find something positive in the negative. And by doing that and retraining my mind to do that, I found more positive things started happening to me. Was that just because I was looking for the positive in them, or was it because that kind of energy was attracting more things to me? I don't know, but either way, it worked for me. I started using positive affirmations every day. I would tell myself every day, it's a beautiful day. Or I would also say over and over again every day, you're healing and getting stronger. So many times, in our heads, we fill our heads with negative self-talk, and we're sometimes our biggest critic. And I think your head should be a safe place. And it's okay to criticize yourself, but it's not something that you should continually do and dwell on. And again, using some positive affirmations like that, again, in the exercise and that, I just found that my life changed for the better. That I was able to focus on the things that were important to me. Now when I'm able to go out and walk with my dogs, I always say it's a beautiful day because that was taken away from me at one time, and I appreciate it no matter what the weather is now. And that's one thing, if I was going to tell anybody to take away from my injury, and that the most important lesson I could pass on is, again, just to cultivate a cup half full mentality about everything in your life. Be grateful for what you have. Grateful for those around you. I look at life now like a game. Each birthday is a new level. I'm about to hit level 59 here this May. Sometimes when you're playing a game and you're getting good, life kicks up the difficulty level. Are you going to rage quit, or are you going to keep playing and master it at the more difficult level? I'm going to play this as long as I can until I meet the boss at the end, and no matter what it throws at me. The obstacles that life puts in our path, they're not blocking our path, they are the path, and it's how we choose to face those obstacles is what makes or breaks us. That's about all I have to say.
It's a great analogy, man.
Pretty good, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Chad, that was
Love
probably
that.
our first conversation where we got that deep, and I love it. It's he's like, you finally get to really know you, and so the question I have for you, I mean, at one point of our lives, we kind of hit that rock bottom moment, to like either continue going to the death route or doing what Chad did. And now, Chad, with that being said, what was the turning point to where I mean, I know you said you got off cold turkey, quit all the medicines, but what made you get to that point? Was it family? Was it, I mean, what made you make that decision that was more important? That there was a bigger job for you to do?
Yeah, I just, so much of myself was wrapped up into what I felt important in life, and that had just been stripped from me. And I was feeling sorry for myself, and there was a point where I just got angry for myself for being so weak. You know, I mean, I couldn't believe I had gotten to that point where I was just constantly dwelling on that kind of stuff, and I needed to snap out of it.
That's awesome. It's a great story, Chad. I mean, I know we shared bits and pieces of that together in private chat, but to actually hear the whole recovery process, and you know, we're just glad that you're still here with us because you know you're definitely an asset, and you know, motivate others as well. And I think that goes with everybody here that's on the show tonight. But any of you guys have any other questions for Chad and his story?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Chad, I actually have two questions. There's one, how old were you when you were injured? And do you have any external support like family or children or anybody that can help you or that did help you? Or you just
I raised 5 kids. My wife was a tremendous help through all this, stuck by me through the whole thing. 100%. She helped me through the whole thing. And I was about 45 when it happened to me.
Yeah, right in the throes of midlife.
Yeah.
Pardon my cat. Mark.
I love animals, so I don't mind.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
So the time period from when you were down to like using a cane, your recovery, like what did that involve to get you back on your feet? Like were there certain exercises, things like that, things you had to build up slow, like just
what I would recommend,
walking, anything.
Yeah, what I would recommend for anybody who's getting back into fitness is to always take it slow. You don't want to take it too fast and then end up getting injured or too sore to continue doing it. I started out with just walking daily, and then after I got better at that, then I started incorporating body weight calisthenics again, push-ups, pull-ups, dips. Again, I come from a background of working out, so I was still able to do some of that stuff, even in the condition I was in. But I just recommend anything you do to just start out slow and do it gradually and just set little goals that you can achieve. And again, don't criticize yourself too hard. I mean, you're in it for the long haul, it's not do everything at once. It's okay if you have little setbacks, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
And you said you were on a cane for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. If you see some of my first videos on YouTube, I'm limping in the videos pretty bad. My cane's at the car, but yeah.
So Chad, from the time you were injured till the time you decided I'm ditching the cane, ditching the meds, how long a time period was that for you?
Well, from the time I got injured till the time I started getting sick of everything, I was feeling sorry for myself for probably a little over a year. And then I started walking with the cane and that, and then gradually started trying to carry the cane through the walk instead of use it, and then leaving it at home, and
the human spirit is something else. I'm glad you persevered and were able to overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always told me I was stubborn and was never going to get me anywhere as a kid. I wish she was alive to see that that wasn't the
case. Any questions for him, Patrick, Ed, or Ant?
No, I'm just glad you're here, man. It's crazy because we never had that conversation. I didn't know any of that stuff, so that's pretty cool. Ed.
The coolest thing about it is I would have never done YouTube or any of that stuff, and now 79 million views later, I've met some just incredible people that have been great friends, you guys included. It's been something I would have never ventured into. That's really been fun.
Yeah, it's crazy how you could look at the bad things and then trace them to something good, you know?
Yeah. Well, I often find looking back in hindsight at the bad things that happened to me that they were just making room for something better to come into my life.
Right.
But when we're
Yep.
going through them, you don't realize that until after you've gone through it. And sometimes it's important to keep that in mind. When something bad's happening in your life, maybe this is making room for something better. My first wife left me when I was in the Army with a 4-month-old baby to take care of myself, and that's why I ended up getting out of the Army. And I knew nothing about kids at the time and had to learn real quick. And that was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And 2 years later, I met my wife, and today is our 29th wedding anniversary. And it was making room for something better. And
Awesome.
often I find that bad things are often doing that.
Absolutely.
Congrats on the 29, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's a rare feat anymore.
For sure. Most definitely.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions for Chad there? Nope.
No questions from me,
Once?
man. Just kudos to you, man. Kudos on the recovery and just finding a new leash on life, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've done in life. That's peanuts to what you just now shared your story with. But
I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It was hard.
All right, so we're going to get into Ant's story here now. Ant, let's go ahead and hear it, bud.
I gotta follow that. I can't follow that, man. No, but I'm just that's unbelievable to hear. I'm glad I met Chad, and he's here with us, doing this. My story is a more recent thing, but I can go all the way back to when I was a kid. And I wasn't gonna get this deep until Chad just put that out there. Now I'm gonna just put stuff out there. So when I was always a chubby kid, and people made fun of me for being chubby, and that always drove me nuts. So when I was about 15, I crash dieted. I just starved myself. So I was borderline anorexic when I was 15, no joke. So I was probably 107 pounds, something like that. I got down to a real ridiculous looking weight. When I look back at pictures now, I don't even want to look at them from that age. So that kind of was a phase that I got through, and then just naturally put weight back on. Still kind of light in college though. So then I was the skinny kid in college. You're too skinny, because you want to be then bulked up, right, by that age. And now it's too skinny. Now I'm getting made fun of for being skinny, So I've been through all that. So then I just naturally filled out, and I got into a lot of drinking, and I was the president of a fraternity, but a lot of drugs around, and the drinking and the drugs. And Moose, you were talking about that moment in life where you're like, shit, I got to make a change. That came pretty early for me, in my early 20s. I remember sitting on the balcony of the fraternity suite, probably, just after doing acid or something like that the day before and all that stuff. I was just sitting there where the fuck am I going in my life? What am I doing? And right after that, I met my wife. And that kind of is the moment where I had to change, be a better person for her, because I didn't want to lose her. So then that's how basically my work ethic started to form, and I started to develop slowly into the person I am today. And it took fatherhood and all that stuff. And then in my 30s, I got out of shape because it was all about the kids. And when it was all about the kids, you stop thinking about yourself, and I mean, the clothes that I have now and the swag and all that, I bought clothes probably twice a year. No, I got clothes twice a year. Christmas, when my mother-in-law bought me something or my mom bought me something. And then I was just out of shape, not paying attention to myself at all. Now in hindsight, I look back and I think, you have to be the best version of yourself for your family, for your wife, for your kids. So you really got to put your health first and to be the person you need to be for them. And that's something I realized in my 40s. And I was talking on one of those fireside chats, and I know it touched home for some of you guys, how I said, it's not a midlife crisis. This is a midlife awakening. You're waking up and realizing that people try to put that crisis negative part to it, and I hate that. Yeah. And so in my early 40s, when I joined these groups, that's when Aunt Ox was kind of born. That's when I grew the beard out. That's when I started wearing the caps and the Boston Scallies and dressing better in a better financial position. And then I was like, well, I got nice clothes now. I want to look good in them. So then I started hitting the gym. And then once you start seeing that, you hate it at first. But once you start seeing those results, those first results where you put the clothes on in the mirror and you're like, holy shit, I look a lot better than I used to look. Or that first picture where you're like, I don't look like a fat fuck in that picture. You know, that's when you get addicted, you know, to the pain that you're going to go through every day, and you won't go without it. And you got to get over that hump to where you want that pain in the gym every day. And I'm in there and I'm trying to get that last rep in. I'll think of my wife's face, my kids' faces, and how I want to be here for them. I'll think of somebody like Monty and what he's going through. Get that last rep in. You know what I'm saying? Something that angers you, something that pisses you off. You know, and then you realize I spent 1 hour, but the other 23 hours are so much better after you do that 1 hour. And once you realize how much better the rest of the time is, that's when you're going to put the work in and get over the hump. So that's where I'm at now on a daily. And like I was talking with Ed last week, we met at the bar. We did a little sidetrack. We did meet at the bar, but he was cheating a little bit. But you know, we had that discussion about how you don't even think about drinking beer anymore. Like it just, because when you get your workout and you want your protein shake, there's no room for beer, you know, so that just becomes the whole lifestyle then.
There's not a pork chop in every bottle? What?
You know, so, but again, it's important to have those little detours, you know, and those little cheat moments and stuff like that to kind of get you through. But that's all I got to say. I want to give the floor to these other gentlemen here who we invited on here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Anthony, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Exactly.
Yeah.
And, I know we've shared stories about my come to Jesus moment, you know, as far as like I stopped drinking before I even turned 21. And but I'll hit on that topic a little bit later. But you know, it's great to hear like yourself to where it's family. It's family over everything. You know, it's once you have that child, and I hit the same thing. You become complacent with your life because you're living with your child, and you're basically. I'm not saying you live your life through your child, but you want to make sure your child is number one priority, and you end up putting yourself in a back burner. So and you don't realize it till it's out of control.
Yeah.
And you said you were in your 30s when you realized that, and that's exactly the way I feel as well. I mean, it's just you put everybody else first beside yourself, and then when it gets to the point where you start having either health issues or something like that, and then you realize, okay, I got to take care of myself as well. You know, I love my family to death, but you know, I got to if I don't take care of myself, I won't be here for such and such when you guys get older. But great
and
story
most of my health issues were in my head. Because I had crazy anxiety. And I was talking about Dubs with that earlier. I had the white coat syndrome, and I would go to the doctor like I'm going to die today. And I would be on all sorts of monitors and shit. And they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. You know, so I had a lot of mental shit going on there too, you know. So there's a lot of stuff that's scary in life, man. But, you know, like Chad was saying before, man, you got to look at the bad things, and they lead to good things quite often, you know.
And when you go to the hospital with anxiety problems, the first thing they automatically think is that you're on drugs or something, man. It's they're like, so have you been drinking?
Having that anxiety
Yeah.
makes it even harder to go to the doctor. It's so hard, you know. And then you gotta go to get yourself taken care of, but it's like a whole thing just to get there. When you have that bad anxiety, man, you know.
Been there, man. Been there. For real. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Ant at all? Anybody in the chat have any questions?
I just happy to know you.
Yeah, man.
I got a question.
Happy to meet all you guys, man.
And grateful for the friendship and all.
I got a question for
supporting me and appreciate
it.
it.
This actually goes back to the fact that he and I both cheated about 2 weeks ago.
What was the meal, man? What did y'all have?
When it comes to that, I can tell you my side of it. But when it comes to that, how strict do you find yourself being when it comes to like, you know, alcohol, beer here, drink there, or like with the cigars and smoking and stuff? And when we do these things, obviously, then we start craving foods, right? We start craving the foods that we're not eating right now. Like, what's the process like for you to like avoid, or do you just say screw it and indulge in those the cravings, even if it's just for the one night?
Well, you know, it's funny because people think I smoke cigars and drink. bourbon or and whiskey like a madman. I don't. You know, I'll do it for one of the episodes. You know, and actually, I have asthma too. So when my asthma's kicking, I'll go months without a cigar. You know, but then when I'm good with the asthma, because you don't inhale cigars, but still you're breathing in the secondhand. Like, but when I'm good with the asthma for a while, I'll pick, you know, I'll smoke a cigar, and it's just I'm not an everyday smoker. I'm like a once a month cigar smoker.
Okay.
And then as far as the alcohol goes, I have a lot of bad acid reflux too, and I've had that for like 20 something years. So when my acid reflux is kicking up, I don't drink for months, you know, and then I'll go to non-alcoholic stuff or something like that, just to social drink beer. And then with the food, it's crazy because you feel like almost everything is bad for you, you know, and the vegetables carry bacteria and they make you too gassy, like all this thing. It's like nothing's freaking healthy for you. And we have the worst system right now with food and all this shit that's in our food, that it becomes a huge project just to eat the right way. So you have to find a niche. But I find that if you start eating the healthier stuff, you go down the aisle and you look at all the other shit like it's poison, you know, and you start to crave the healthy stuff, you know, because that's then what you become used to, and you got to get into that. But then when I got down 185 pounds from 220, I wanted to bulk up with muscle. And then bulking up with muscle, now you're eating a lot more, you know, and now you're eating. Sometimes you find yourself eating unhealthy stuff just to bulk up. You know, and then you're like, well, now I'm getting too bulky. Now I got to slim down. It's just it's a constant battle. It's just a constant battle, you know. But
I eat OMAD.
That
one meal
that food that we had that day, bro. I know I've had the Reuben. I had a crazy good sandwich that day with that. And I don't know what the hell it was. It was like smothered in cheese and Irish whiskey sauce. It was great, man.
It was an open faced sandwich that you had, like covered in cheese.
Yeah, open faced sandwich, but smothered in something where I ate it with a knife and a fork.
Yeah, I remember that.
I eat OMAD. I eat one meal a day. I basically just eat one big meal a day, and I find that allows me to eat more what I want during that meal, and then kind of intermittent fast throughout the rest of the day. It works pretty well for me if you can go that long without eating.
I've looked
right.
into
Yeah,
that.
I have to experiment with the reflux issue, because sometimes when you go too long,
You know what you can do that can help with that is put a shot of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water and drink it, and that'll help cut down the acid, the alkaline.
A lot of people have told me that.
Yeah,
I should try that, because in the past I was like, well, vinegar is going to make it worse, you know, but people swear by it, man.
Yeah, no, it'll cut the acid, the alkaline.
Yeah.
It's healthy for you too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've never had the acid reflux. When I hear people
use
talk
it to
about
shrink
I don't
like
know what it is. Yeah.
little skin tags and stuff. You could put the apple cider vinegar on it. It shrinks it to nothing. Stuff is amazing.
Yeah. And then, yeah. But I agree with you with all the chemicals and everything that's in our foods now. It's you go to other countries and it's not even like that. I mean, it's just pure food, and I think we're starting to turn the right direction, but it's got a long way to go. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for Ann at all?
Yeah, how many Prilosec are you popping these days, man?
That stuff's terrible, bro. No, don't take those friggin' those PPIs.
Yeah, PPIs.
Yeah, those proton pump inhibitors, bro. When you come off them, forget it. You can never come off them. It makes it much worse.
Yeah.
All they want is customers. You know, don't take that shit. Eat a red. What's really good for it is a red delicious apple. Red delicious apple is a really natural way to treat it as well. And just tighten the diet up. You know, with the marinara sauce, the alcohol, the chocolate, all the good shit in the world, you got to cut out. It's a bitch. It's a bitch. I've been living with it for 20-something years. I've had multiple endoscopies where they check you, you know, and it really doesn't progress or anything. I've had multiple endoscopies, but it's just like a lifelong pain in the fucking ass that you have to deal with, you know?
Most definitely. I've had the scopes and all that crap done too, man.
Yeah. It's always, oh, you're okay. Well, what the fuck? You know?
The lava.
I eat too fast too. I eat too fast.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear what these other guys got to say. No more questions.
Yeah, for real.
All right, Ed, what do we got, bud? Tell us your story, sir.
Oh, you want my story? Okay. Yeah. So I've very similar to Ann Ox. Like I was a chubby kid for my entire childhood, and then towards the end of high school, I just drastically started dropping weight. I wanted to look good. I wanted to get attention. My friends and I were working out, playing sports here and there, never really committed to anything, but found a way to drop weight without really getting in shape. Eventually met my wife. She and I were pretty much on the same journey. We would go to the gym together and all that, but we weren't taking care of our diet properly, right? We would go through all the fad diets. We went through Atkins and South Beach diet. We tried paleo. We tried keto diet. We would do all these crash diets, and it's like, all right, you lose a few pounds for a couple of weeks, and then because you're not staying consistent with it, we would gain the weight right back, right? And then we had kids, right? Once kids are in the picture, your health, your everything about you goes to the back seat because now it's all about being a parent, right? So all of a sudden it's like no more, we're paying for the gym and we're not showing up to the gym. And we're working late, we're picking up our kids, like my mother-in-law used to watch our kid all the time. We're getting out of work late, we're picking the kids up, and the next thing you know, we're stopping by the local restaurant to pick up dinner because we don't have
Yeah.
time to cook. So now you're constantly eating fatty foods. So over the course of our marriage, we're just putting on weight, putting on weight. Then we're finding crash diets, trying to lose it. And it wasn't, I found myself 2018. It's so easy to get access to alcohol, which is absolutely poison for us.
Mhm.
And in 2018, I found myself just constantly drinking. We were always, oh, have a glass of wine for dinner. Next thing you know, two bottles are gone. And you're going out every social event to some or reason to drink. And I found myself feeling physically ill every time I would have alcohol. And I just decided, you know what, no more alcohol. I just stopped cold turkey, and I felt great. But then I felt like I needed something to take the edge off at the end of the day. So my brother-in-law tells me, why don't you try edibles, right? So I started with edibles, and then eventually I got into like smoking like a vape pen and stuff. And then I tried like weed, and I replaced alcohol with weed. And then that's when the weight started coming on because all of a sudden I got the munchies. And every time, and my wife would joke around and say, "Look, Ed is high, and that means he needs to come back down." Because I would just start stuffing my face with every carb I could find, every
Yep.
sugar I could find. And next thing you know, the pandemic hits, and we're home. We can't order dinner, we can't order meals. So now we're looking at recipes and making the same junk that we're buying outside, making it at home. We're making Indian food. We're making Chinese food. We're pasta this and rice that. Next thing you know, I'm like 290 pounds. Nothing fits.
Mhm.
And we used to live on the third floor of a walk-up. I'm struggling. I'm running out of breath walking up 3 flights of stairs. All right. I would go walk my dog, and walking my dog means I'm doing one of these while I'm walking my dog, and I'm coming back, and I'm out of breath going around the corner. But I wouldn't stop. I was smoking weed every day. Eventually, we moved out here to Long Island. We bought our house, and again, it's like all of a sudden I have hypertension, and now I'm on medication for high blood pressure, and nothing was changing until well, before I found the gym, I found reviews with Moose, right? So there was part of me looking at Boston Scally because I used to wear a flat cap before, but I could never find a flat cap that fit my head because I was so goddamn fat. And I found Boston Scally. I started looking at videos. I found Moose's videos, right? And Moose was talking about his weight loss journey. And I saw where he was started and the progress he had made. And Moose and I had already like I had hit him up in the DMs and stuff. We had chatted, and I said, you know what, if he can do it, and he was much bigger than I am at this point, I have no excuse. So I started. My wife and I, we have a park nearby, which is really beautiful, built out park, baseball fields and um, basketball courts and stuff. We would walk the tracks, walk the trails, but then the weather would get crappy. So we're like, all right, what are we going to do as far as exercise? And it happens to be that we found this gym in our town, boxing, kickboxing, strength training. And we went for, we paid for a trial class. We liked it. We went back. Next thing you know, like there's such a community there that we found ourselves constantly coming back. We became members, and when it comes to changing your health and habits, it's literally about just forming habits, and that's what I learned in this transition, right? You have to form good habits to replace the bad ones, right?
Mhm.
So every time you start a diet, you're just following a fad, you're following a trend,
Yeah.
because if you don't actually make that as part of your lifestyle, it's not gonna yield results, right? You could lose 5 pounds doing X, Y, and Z, and you're gonna regain it and maybe even gain more once you stop doing that. And what I found was the longer I committed to my actual health, the better it got and the easier it became. And then I started seeing the weight coming off. And seeing the weight coming off was one part, and then seeing my body changing all of a sudden, it's like one day my daughter goes, Dad, you don't have man boobs anymore. And I looked down, I was like, hell yeah, I know. That's what's
Yeah.
up. You know? And for me, the biggest health scare was the fact that I found myself constantly short out of breath, and the high blood pressure because it wasn't being treated. I was getting these really bad migraines, and I honestly thought one day I was gonna have a freaking aneurysm. I thought I was gonna collapse and die when I was sitting at my desk at work. And number one, got to get a doctor. Let me start treating this, and let me start getting my health in order. And now I was actually telling them. So when Ann and I went out the other day, my gym, we participated in a 6-week challenge. To everybody had their own different goals, but obviously my goal was to drop another 10 pounds. And during this 6 weeks, where we're tracking our macros, we're being very, very targeted. I was eating, I was eating 200 grams of proteins, 150 grams of carb, 70 grams of fat every day. So I was doing 2,100 calories, and I was actually following it along, being very strict. And every time anything would slip up, I would speak to my coach. I'm like, listen, I'm not hitting my protein goal. Every time I up my protein, my fats go up. How do I adjust this? And he goes, easy. Drink a protein shake every night. Just get the plain protein powder, make yourself a protein shake. You're gonna hit your protein, there's no fat. And all of a sudden I found that shift. And I, in total, since I started working out, I've lost just over 40 pounds, but then I put on about 10 pounds of just muscle. And I saw the difference. All of a sudden everything starts fitting better, right? Like I went down from busting out of a double X, shirt, a Dixon or something. Now I bought a extra large Dixon a couple of weeks ago and it fit me perfectly. So that motivated me to like, all right, what else can I fit now that's an extra large? So I went to Macy's and got myself like actual fitted dress shirts to wear with like suits, right? Then I went to what was the other store? We were just Burlington. We went to Burlington. I ended up finding pants, like dress pants to wear to work. At one point I was a size 42, then the size 40s were fitting me too loose. Now I can fit into a 38. I haven't been able to fit into a 38 since I was in my 30s. Right? I'm 45 now. All of a sudden, and once I saw that change, that's when it's like, all right, you're going in the right direction. Even if you slip up somewhere, even if Aunt makes you drink a Guinness, you know,
Oh, come on, man.
it's not the end of the world. No, 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 no. Man, I enjoyed that Guinness.
St.
I'm just
Patty's Day,
busting.
we got to throw all the rules out.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Bad influence,
I'm just
man.
busting balls here. But no, listen. My motivation, I told Aunt for this challenge was I had a 4-pack of Guinness draft in my fridge. I said I'm gonna crack one of those as soon as this challenge is done. And guess what? That pack is still in my fridge right now. I just don't have the urge for it. It's just
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
It's
that's
like,
what I
yeah,
was
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
before.
I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. It's
Yeah.
it's just there. Dude, I drink
Also, out
water
on
all
Long
day.
Island, where we are on Long Island, I mean, there's just bars everywhere. When the
Yeah,
summertime hits, it's so hard not to drink. Like, we're
it
surrounded.
is. But
You
listen,
know.
even you were good. If you remember, we went to that seaside place, and you were drinking non-alcoholic beers.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was like over the winter, right? Or over the
Yeah,
yeah. Yep.
it was two different outings. You were having non-alcoholic beers. We went to that place in Port Jeff, and then we went
Yeah.
to that place close to your house.
Yep. Yep.
And And I mean, I gotta respect that. I gotta respect, you have the beer just for the sake of like the social aspect,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know, when you say no alcohol,
Which is
no
crazy
alcohol.
that I grew into the taste of a beer. When I was a kid, I just wanted to get drunk.
That's all of us, man.
Yeah.
Were you drinking St. Pauli's Girl or O'Doul's? What were you drinking there?
Oh,
No, I
dude.
was drinking Corona Zero. Those were Corona
Yeah,
Zeros. They have
Corona
Guinness
Zero.
Zeros
Yeah.
too. The Guinness Zero I had at the St. Patty's party recently. It was pretty good.
That's awesome. That's a great story, Ed, and I'm glad I can help you get motivated as well.
Thank you.
I know we had chats when this had to be over a year and a half ago, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's going on 2 years.
And,
It's almost 2 years.
Yeah, and it's just that actually fed me more to continue my journey is when people start sending you messages like, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you give me advice?" I mean, it actually fueled me more to continue the journey than it would be if I was just doing it because
That gives you motivation.
Yeah, because like my wife, she doesn't have any issues like that, so she was like always like, you got to do it on your own. And so it was like either I go to the gym by myself. I'm in Wichita. I don't have any friends here in Wichita. So it's like I just do it yourself. I'd walk on the thing, and I got friends with deer, and deer were all my videos. And then next thing you know, after that, it just ended up being people reaching out to me. I think the deer helped, and it just that actually added more motivation because there's times where you just feel like, oh, I'm done with this. I don't want to do it no more. But then you got people like Ed reach out to you, and it just okay, let's keep it going. And Ed, I'm just curious, is it what do we got here in your background here? I see a Purple Rain sign here. What's yeah.
Oh, so actually this I have a few CDs and records framed. I don't know if you can see it clearly,
Okay.
but so that right there is the 2015 Paisley Park remastered edition of Purple Rain. I found it at a record shop in New York City. It still has the plastic wrap on it. I bought it and framed it because I have two other copies of Purple Rain as well as
Nice.
the rest of Prince's catalog. But that album right there, once I saw that one in that condition, I said I need that for my wall.
Let's take another glance at that. Let me see what kind of memories I see on this wall here.
He's got
So
a bunch
this
of
wall-
90s
I
hip
have
hop
like-
shit up
I
there.
see Snoop Dogg. I see Nas. I see
Biggie.
Biggie. Is that Cypress Hill? Jay-Z?
Cypress Hill, you got
You got Raekwon, the chef, up there.
Yeah.
yeah.
My buddy and I, we got to be extras in the Purple Rain movie when they were filming some of the concert scenes in First Avenue. We got paid like $30 a day to watch a free concert. It was a lot of fun.
That's right. I
I
remember
thought
you
you were
telling
saying
us that.
you were in the scene with Apollonia getting out of the lake.
No. We were just crowd extras.
Yeah. Chad was cleansing himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, he was the underwater film guy.
Yeah. But yeah, actually I have more records and CDs. So what I did was like my favorite 90s like hip hop R&B CDs. Like I took out the sleeves, album cover work, and I just framed them. Because now obviously we stream everything. We don't play CDs anymore.
Yeah.
But I still have a bunch of records in which I passed on to my daughter. My daughter actually has a Victrola record player upstairs, and she has like crates of records and stuff. So yeah, I mean, besides that, obviously you'll have all of my freaking collectibles over there in my books. But yeah, I created this is my office / dressing room / man cave, right? So I have all of my little knickknacks to keep myself busy in here, especially during tax season when I need a distraction.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for Ed at all?
No, just keep going, man. Keep doing it.
Yeah, you got it, bro. I'm proud of you.
Stick
I
with it.
really am. I mean,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I remember when I first got you hooked on a Dixon Cypress Hill flannel, and
Yeah.
yeah. Now that you hear about that being too big, now that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
I know. Actually, I started selling off all of my XX Dixon shirts because they're huge on me, and I feel like somebody can make use of them. So I've gotten rid of like half of them already.
Oh, wow.
And I still have a few more that I'm gonna put on like one of those like Dixon Facebook groups to sell it off.
I know, man. I tried to give you a
Just
free hat. You
restock
couldn't
it,
even
buy
take
new
it.
ones. New size in an extra large now. Now that I could fit in an extra large.
Good, Dub.
Is it my turn now?
I couldn't hear.
No.
Dub, I'm sorry.
I was asking you. You're saying something about the Ed, about your.
Oh, I was just saying that I offered him a free hat, man, and he lost so much weight he couldn't even use it. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny that it does that. I used to be like an XL, and then I went down to an extra large or a regular large, and then but you know, it's you would never think that when you lose weight, your actual head gets smaller, but it does.
Yeah, and
I would
that's
have never have
another
thought
issue, right? Like all of
Yeah.
my Boston Scally caps are double X, and they're all huge on me now, right?
Yeah,
I never realized that until this whole hat game.
Yeah,
I never knew it
I
either.
put majority of my hats through the shrinking process just to get them to fit comfortably.
This
But what
makes
I've
me
done is
sad
the most
because
recent hats that I purchased, like outside of Boston Scally, I get it my exact size, which is a 61 centimeter, and they all fit perfect. And you know, I roll the dice now. When I buy a Boston Scally hat, I order it in extra large, and they've been fitting in extra large.
Mm-hmm.
We better get to the other guys, or we're going to run out of time.
Yeah. And you know, I do have some questions in the chat, but I pinned those questions, guys. Whoever's in the chat, and we'll ask those at the end. But let's go ahead and get to the Southern Scally. Let's hear your story.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty interesting that Chad was kind of comparing his journey to a video game a little bit.
That was awesome.
yeah,
I'd say if I did that, likened my life to a video game, then I'm starting level 1 at half a life bar. I was actually born with a condition called tricuspid atresia, and essentially what that means is I was born without a right heart valve. So by the time I was 2 years old, and this was back in 1987, I had to be flown out to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Yep, their chat is maybe close by. And so I was there, and I had open heart surgery for the first time. It was called the Fontan procedure, where they essentially put in an artificial heart valve. And that lasted for a long time. I did pretty good with it. The biggest thing growing up, of course, it was the only life I knew. So my endurance was always really low. I got tired real easily. I couldn't do sports and things like that. So it made life a little bit more difficult in that aspect. Not that I ever wanted to do too many sports anyways. So I was actually okay with that growing up. But then about 15 years ago, when I had to have my second open heart surgery, and that's essentially the Fontan division. And that is, of course, the one that I remember. And that hit me really hard. It was a really tough surgery. My body was counter-reacting to the Lortab they were giving me, so I had to recover in ICU on Tramadol and Tylenol. And after having your chest cut open, I can tell you that doesn't feel good. It does nothing for the pain.
I bet.
It was a rough recovery. I couldn't even walk without assistance, and I was trying to walk thinking, I'm never going to be able to walk again. Like, I'm just not going to be able to do this. And then it was so crazy because after about a week of being in ICU, it was just like a 180. And I was like, I'm ready to get out of here. I feel good. I could eat. So it was about another 3 or 4 days. I got back home. And of course, the recovery continued on and on. It's actually still going on. But speaking to what all of y'all were saying, before that, I didn't have any psychological, mental things going on. Man, after that surgery, the anxiety came in. It got really tough, and which of course just it can make your chest tight, so you think you're having a heart attack. And being a heart patient, I'm like, at this point I can't go in every time I have a chest pain. Now I would live in the hospital, right? I mean, things. And so I got to the point I was just like, this is my life, and I'm going to have to deal with this. And what's funny, not funny, but it is what it is statistically, I am in the last year of my life. For Fontan patients, I will actually be 41 Sunday. So if I make it there, I've beat it. But it's, you think about that, and when I do consider all that, and because now that surgery has been so long ago, as Fontan Fontan patients get older and older, of course, the problems just keep coming and coming. They don't stop, they get worse just because that's really all they can do medically. Surgery-wise, I'm done. I just have to take care of myself. And so that was the point. I've got to cut drinking. I've got to lose weight because I was about 200 pounds when I went into surgery. And I lost about 10 to 15 pounds in the hospital just by eating. I was like, well, here's my head start. Now I can start exercising, I can start eating. And as Ed put it, it's a lifestyle change. It's not a fad diet. It's kind of this or that, maybe once or twice a week. You have to change your whole perspective. You have to change your whole lifestyle if you want to get better. Because it's a long-term thing. And so that is what I have learned that I have to do. And with the arrhythmia thing I've been talking about, that has been happening the last 2 years or so, where essentially I'll just be sitting at my desk at work, and then all of a sudden my heart will jump up to like 180 for just no reason. But then it'll just settle down in about a minute or two. Of course, it's scary. And Emory is where I go now in Atlanta, and they just want to test. I have a life to live. And of course, I know my best interest in mind. But you just kind of have to realize, health is a thing. It's not like getting an inheritance or something like that. This is something you have to do for yourself because nobody, even if they wanted to, would do it for you. This is something that you have to do if you want to do it, because nobody can give it to you. And with all these things going on, with all of the anxiety, I was at a time I was almost fearful. I was like, how am I going to make it to 50, 60, feeling like this? And I think, I just had to get to the point. It was like, I can't worry about tomorrow because, well, for one thing, tomorrow may never even come. But, I have to live for today. I have to live, and because what I'm doing by just worrying about tomorrow or the next day or how I'm going to feel, I'm just wasting the time I have to do with my wife and my family. And I'm destroying these moments worrying about what hasn't even happened. And so I got to the point, I was like, no, I'm not doing this mentally to myself anymore. I can't bear it. It was pressing down so hard on me, all the anxiety. I was like, you know what? I got to do it a day at a time. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. And as a Christian, and I've mentioned I'm a Christian in other videos, I believe God is sovereign over all things. And there is a reason for everything we go through. And everything we go through isn't fun. A lot of it isn't. But worrying is absolutely nothing to make anything better. And so you have to do what you have to do in the moment to be successful, to be prosperous, to be happy, to be joyful. Otherwise, and I didn't realize, when I would get home with my wife from work, I was just worrying all day about things, that could possibly happen. And I was like, it would just destroy our evenings together after work. I couldn't even have a good weekend because I'm worrying about what might happen. And that is just absolutely no way to live, no matter what you believe. So I just got to the point, I'm not doing this anymore. And, I can't think about this might be the last year of my life. I mean, yeah, maybe it might be, but it might be for someone else too. And it will be for somebody else too. And life continues on. And so to be in that mindset is it's damaging. And that would be the biggest thing I could tell anyone is just don't have that mindset of defeat, because it is going to affect every single aspect of your life. So you want to hear my complete version? I'm going to keep talking because I know we have so many others to go here. If you go to my All Heart Cap review on my channel, the whole story is there.
That's a great video.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Hey, just real quick, brother. Let me give you a fist bump.
Oh yeah.
I just felt I needed to do that. Hell yeah.
It's tough. I mean,
Great story, man.
Yeah.
We can't anticipate life in that sense of what comes tomorrow, and you can let it defeat you, or you can be triumphant over it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and
Your health is your wealth.
Yeah, exactly. And from the religious side, you are 100% right. The Lord knows; He knows when your time is, and I always went by like live your life to the fullest because you're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when you lose sight of that, that's when you lose your battle or you lose anything you have or everything you have.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
right.
and that's where in your all heart video that you did, that's where I was like, I had no idea before that. And when you said it just opened up a whole like, holy cow, Yeah.
No one gets out of here alive. Make the most of the time you have.
Yeah.
That's
that
the
right,
biggest
man.
thing I learned from my thing. And your
Yeah.
story is pretty similar.
And as you see these comments, even during this video, people are going through things, and most of us are not immune to that. Most of us don't get to 90 and made it without any sort of complications. So it's probably going to happen. Maybe not to the degree that it's happened to me, but we're going to go through hard times in life.
There's always somebody dealing with more than you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you sharing. Anybody have any questions for Patrick at all?
Oh man, that's motivation.
No, that's a great story.
That's the pinnacle.
I highly recommend you check out that video of his, that all heart video too. It's a very good
Check
video.
that out. I haven't seen it.
I second
Definitely.
that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrick, for sharing that story. That's an awesome story. I'm glad you were able to share that with everybody that's watching here now. And so now we're going to go we're kind of like all three of us together, Dubs, myself, and Josh. But we're going to go let Josh go ahead and explain his whole walkabout and go ahead and tell your little story that you got going on there, Josh.
Yeah, so I was always the heavy kid in school, always wearing the husky jeans at Sears.
Yep.
Nobody wanted you on your team when you were playing elementary school sports. Didn't really have a lot of positive self-esteem at all. So always just was chunky, but I put a smile on my face, and people like nice fat guys. So I enjoyed my high school time. And then when I graduated, I had to decide what I was going to do. And I was working at the hometown grocery store, so I stayed there for a little bit, and that ended up closing. So I was already on the fire department in my town, so I spent almost 40 years on there and worked full-time as a paramedic. So my whole life somewhere I was taking care of people, which also negates you taking care of yourself. Fast forward, you get married, have a couple kids, still not helping. And of course, if anybody remembers about public safety jobs that didn't pay for crap, so I was working 2-3 jobs. And then lo and behold, in 2016, I had a little health scare that started the whole mess for me. I had a mass in my neck. And of course, I know from being a firefighter that could be cancerous. I was really worried about it, got right into the doctor, got the thing biopsied, not cancer. This was some kind of benign tumor. And I ended up staying overnight at the hospital when I got taken out. And they, of course, said, hey, guess what? You're diabetic today in this hospital stay. It didn't really come as a surprise to me because my mom was diet controlled and her dad was insulin dependent, and he was a bilateral below the knee amputee on insulin himself. So not surprised. Okay, diabetic. So I go to endocrinologist, and my A1C was like 14. That's a problem. And we're going to give you this cool thing called an insulin pump. And that was in 2017. I weighed 323 pounds. And of course, if anybody's not familiar with how this little insulin pump works, it takes all your carbs and turns them into fat. So I gained 80 pounds over 6-7 years. So when I retired in in June of 24, when I look at pictures from Facebook and the timeline, I just couldn't believe myself. And in September of that year, I went to the endocrinologist because I saw him every 90 days. And of course, I had my A1C under control. I just was humongous. And I weighed 423 pounds. And I said, that's it. I'm not going to weigh a quarter ton. And that's really where things flipped the script for me. So I went back in December of 24, and I lost 5 or 6 pounds. And the endocrinologist, I see the nurse practitioner, said, would you like to try an injectable? And I was on Ozempic for a little bit, lost a little bit of weight a few years before, but it constipated me something fierce. I said, I'll do whatever, but I don't really want to deal with this constipation. She says, we'll try this Mounjaro sampler pack. We got it in the office, and it's a GLP-1 and a GLP receptor. So I tried that. And first month I was on it, I didn't really notice a whole lot. And in January, I was having some medium side effects with the stuff. And then I went to 5 milligrams and had more side effects. So I was spending usually 24 and 72 hours in the potty. And I giving my injections on a Thursday. So it was a miserable situation for me. Sometimes I'd get it really bad, sometimes not. So in about March, I went to 7.5 milligrams, and obviously it was wintertime out. So I knew I had to incorporate some exercise. I can't just be living on a better diet, this injectable. I need to do something. So about, 3 or 4 miles from us, there's a nature preserve. And Michelle, my significant other, and I, we walked this the previous October, and I couldn't even do a half a mile walk. I was out of breath going back to the car. I had to lean on somebody's pickup truck. And I said, I think I'm going to go try to walk this nature trail again to incorporate my exercise. And there's benches around this thing, and there's 2 almost half-mile long walking paths. So I picked one, got about, I don't know how far, had to sit at the bench. Then got up, went for a walk around, and there's a pond here. Around the pond, had to sit at the bench. And, man, it was tough. And I got to walk about number 4, somewhere around 4 or 5, and I was making a little video at the time. And I thought, does anybody really give a shit about a fat guy going for a walk in a nature park? And I don't know what happened there for everybody, but I started getting inundated with text message, Facebook messages, people posting to the thing. You've inspired me. I used to walk. I need to walk. I can't believe you're airing this for everybody to see. This is pretty personal. And it just exploded from there. So I started walking a half a mile, and then gradually I can walk by that first bench and say, eat shit, first bench. I don't need to stop here today. Thank you for your service. Then you could get to the second bench and sit. Okay. So finally, ultimately, you go for a walk and don't need to sit at a bench, right? So that just keeps spurring you on. I also never played the scale game. I only weighed myself when I went to endocrinologist because I didn't want to say, well, I lost 3 pounds today, I can have a Twinkie. No crap, I gained 2 more pounds. I better not eat for a week. So in June of 25, I went to the endocrinologist, and I'd lost enough weight, and my blood glucose was so fantastic, I got off my insulin plan.
Nice.
And I was absolutely astounded by that because I thought I'd be on this thing for the rest of my life. And that's really when the weight started to fly off me. So I then went to a basal, which is your long-acting insulin. And in October of 25, I asked the endocrinologist. I've been kind of having paramedic background. I've kind of been monkeying with my Lantus, which is my basal. And I noticed that sometimes if I cut this back a little bit, my side effects lessen, and my numbers are good on my CGM, my continuous glucose monitor. So how about if I see if I can just scale myself back off this basal and see what happens? He said, you can do that. And if you feel like you can't get control, just keep your basal where it is. So long story short, in December, I weighed 305 pounds right around Christmas time, and I was really wanting to get to 300 before I went back in January to the doctor. And I missed my goal, still hanging around 303. But by that time, I was down to 4 units of basal. So when I went to the doctor, she said, if you just have 1 big glass of water, you're going to flush that basal right out of your system. You're doing amazing. So let me know what happens. So since February 1st of this year, I've had no insulin at all. Just 7.5 milligrams of Mounjaro once a week. My total overall weight loss, 130 pounds.
Hey, congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
That's awesome.
Give him a fist bump too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in it. So, you know, I hung around this 300, 305, and the last 6 weeks I was really struggling. Why can't I get over this hump? Right? I didn't set this unsurmountable goal to get to 300. I was 5 pounds away at Christmas, and now I just can't seem to kick it. But I haven't done anything different. I've been working out at the rec center this last winter and through the springtime here because I can't walk, obviously, in the winter. So I'm on a treadmill or a recumbent elliptical. And lo and behold, I had to go to the doctor for a follow-up, my PCP last week, and hopped on the scale, and I was at 297 with my clothes on. So I'm probably around 295.
Nice.
So
Congrats.
how did we get to the Walkabout Nation? So another firefighter paramedic friend of mine, he had a good health scare. He had the old double bypass and is getting ready to get pensioned off on disability from that. And he reached out, and we started doing a walk once a week. And we said we should, as we approached Walkabout 100, we said we should probably do something to give back to the community, because I still, from that point on, I had outpouring of support from Anox, Nick Nefarious, my whole community. People, so we did a community walk on August 23rd. We had about 40 walkers. We walked a half a mile, had trail mix and water, and it was really just a nice community event. And now we're gearing up for 250, which should be happening here sometime, hopefully in warmer weather. But we're going to try to do another community event. So the other great thing about this that Ed had mentioned is you can't be going to shop off the rack and no more DXL, no more king size. Man, when I got to go get jeans, a couple of pullovers, there's nothing better than just shopping at the store versus having to go get this from somewhere else. So I ended up creating a Walkabout Nation Facebook page. I also post the videos to my personal page, and I get people that follow one but not the other, and that's okay. And still to this day, I'm just able to inspire others. I had a couple guest walkabout people that from my town or in my area here, and it really helps keep me in check to do better for myself. And it also is reassuring to know that people want to know how you're doing, and they just appreciate your transparency and your ability to share your journey with everybody else. So that's really my short synopsis of this story. And I do need to thank just a couple people here. One of them is my fiance, Michelle. I need to thank Paul Perry. He's another cloud motivator who's been a fantastic co-worker and mentor for me. Bill Crosser, who's my little walkabout partner on Sundays. And everybody that's given me a boost here, especially now that I'm below 300. It really spurs you on to keep going. And I don't know for the rest of you who are on this journey, I got asked more often than not now is where are you going to stop? What's your end game? I really don't know, because I haven't been this skinny in decades, right? I couldn't tell you the last time I weighed less than 300 pounds, but it's been 20 years. I can guarantee you that. So
that's a great story, because not only that did you have success, but you've motivated so many others.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I never would have believed you could have this much impact going forward.
Yeah.
So,
and Josh, you want to go ahead and give a shout out and tell everybody who's watching like your information about Walkabout and where they can find it?
Yeah, sure. So it's the Walkabout Nation on Facebook. I post my walkabout videos there. Obviously, you can hit me up on a friend request. My name is my name on Facebook. I do cap reviews. I always did a photograph cap review, but then Anox kind of spurred me on when we did the unboxing for the massacre to do some video cap reviews, and people seem to like it. So I'm in there, but I'm happy to share with anybody. I have no secrets. It's just hard work, determination, and the perseverance is what gets the results. Never giving up. Even when you don't want to go to the rec center that day or the gym. And the other thing that's helped me a lot is I got a smartwatch from my brother, and that really helps me keep me on my goals and your steps and your calories, and it's been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, and Jimmy Guerrero put a comment in here. This is
I read
true,
that.
obviously true.
Yeah.
It's amazing a cap could bring us all together like this. You know,
Straight away.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
key to the whole thing for sure.
He is
Yeah.
so right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It
Yeah.
is
And I think
definitely-
everybody here reviews caps.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny. I've been making all kinds of other videos on YouTube, but it was watching Moose's cap reviews that got me going. I started talking to him and said, "God, I've got these caps too. Maybe I'll start doing a few reviews." And he encouraged me, and the rest
For me,
is
it was
history.
Ed. For me, it was Ed dropping his little reviews. He got me
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
And I was doing mine on Facebook.
Yeah,
Started with
so
Moose
did I. That's how I
too.
started too. And then somebody said
Yeah.
you should get a YouTube channel, so then I started doing that.
Yeah, Moose was the first review I watched, and I found Skydog reviews. He was doing them pretty
Skydog,
regularly,
Yeah.
and it's
He was
just
on an
crazy
episode.
how-
Yeah.
Crazy how the
Shout out to
community.
Tim.
It really is a community, for sure.
Yeah.
All over a hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's kind of a cool community too, because it brings a lot of different people together from different backgrounds that I think wouldn't normally be together.
A lot of
100%,
different
yeah.
personalities.
Yeah.
Do you guys hear an echo, or is I'm the only one who's hearing that echo? Somebody's
I think somebody has their computer on, so they're listening to it on their computer and their phone.
That computer down, yeah. We're getting an echo.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything on my end.
Oh, okay.
I hear the echo.
I hear the echo as well.
Somebody might have their computer on. Like,
I
it's
double
reverberating.
check mine. I'm muted on the computer, so.
And like you guys said, we got 7 people here, 7 totally different backgrounds. And
Yep.
we're all here talking that brought us by caps. We all got to introduce to each other caps. Now imagine if the world was the same way, how much of a better place it would be.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we need to be running the world here. I'll take the United States.
Yeah, we have
Josh, you can take
superpowers.
Canada.
We're forming Voltron here.
Listen,
Does anybody have any questions for Josh in this group at all?
I don't, but I enjoy those walkabouts, Josh. I'm always watching those.
Great story.
yeah.
Appreciate
I'll
y'all.
just say that,
Just a quick comment, Josh. I mean, I love what I've seen you do with I have type 1 and type 2 diabetics in my family, so seeing that and comparing it to their journey, their struggles, it brings it home for me.
It shows you're on the right track too, that you're able to reverse that.
Who knew you could become undiabetic?
Yeah.
Yeah, my one of my coworkers, same thing. He just did it on his own. He said, "Yeah, I beat it on my own." I'm like, "What?" Just strict dieting and exercise. I'm like, "Oh wow."
And that's all I've
That's how
done.
my brother-in-law did.
And Josh, Hope put a comment in the chat. Josh is my brother, and I've never been so proud of someone. That is awesome.
Yeah, so I lost my wife in 2021, which is how I became involved with Michelle.
Oh, my condolences, man.
And thank you. And she was really the first person to eat more chicken, ground turkey instead of ground beef. We'll make our own sloppy Joe seasoning versus buying it from the envelope. The other thing I didn't really touch on here is I did have a little health scare for myself that also helped spur this on. But in 2021, I had a TIA right after my wife Laura died. I spent about 6 months of pizza and beer, not really knowing I was not in a good headspace until I realized I was not in a good headspace. So that has also impacted me to again become healthier, because as Michelle and I progressed dating and engaged to get married, she said she might like me around for just a little bit longer, and I better try to take better care of myself. So, honey, I got the message and I accepted the assignment, and I couldn't do without you.
Awesome.
Somebody just said they watched the Gentleman's Roundtable while walking the treadmill. That's awesome.
Treadmill. Yeah.
So yeah,
All right, Dub. Let's hear it, bud.
So yeah, at an hour, I'm going to keep this as short as I can. But there are things that Josh and Ant both said that I could actually copy and paste into my story as well. I have dealt with so many different things in many chapters of my life. I've dealt with anxiety and horrible panic attacks. And in that, I started to self-medicate with alcohol. And I began to drink a lot. I became an alcoholic. You know, my wife had dealt with a lot with that, and she unfortunately had to deal with a lot of things there. Had to make a lot of changes, and quit that. Ended up getting married to her, having kids, started doing the straight and narrow, I guess you could say. And but yeah, once I got married, man, my weight just started to increase more and more. The kids, you know, the married life, all that thing, all those things. And to where I am right now, I have a lot of medical problems. I have sleep apnea. I have liver issues from fatty liver. One of the biggest things that scared the crap out of me was that I lost my vision one day, got violently sick, and found out I had type 2 diabetes. And I had lost my sight for like 2 weeks, man. And like I said, scared the crap out of me. My sugar was like 350 or something, or 300 when I went in. My glucose was 10.9, I believe. And started making some changes. Lost 20 pounds, you know, and that reversed my numbers on my AST and ALT, which are liver enzymes, and brought those down. Let's see what else, man. There's so many things, you know, like Ant was talking about with GERD. It affects it too, you know. But that 20 pounds, though, man, it changed my liver and got back down to normal. As soon as I started kind of like focusing on my weight again, my sugar levels started to drop. Of course, they put me on metformin, and that helps as well. But everything that's wrong with me right now could be reversed if I just lost weight, probably 75 more pounds, you know. So the struggle is getting there, and I make good choices and bad. I have good days and bad. And I'm a late night eater, man. That's my big problem, dude. I'll be half asleep, rolling up to the fridge, you know, about 12, and trying to get me some treats or something. And that's just the way it is. But I've tried to make better decisions there, you know, and it's a struggle. But I'm very active. I know I talk about Kevin James a lot, man, joking around, but I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy like him, and I'm actually very active. And but the problem is I don't make the right choices when it comes to food a lot of times, and I really have to plan. So, you know, if I'm not weighing my food and doing meal prepping and things like that, dude, it's going to go south real quick. So I got to stay on top of that. But, you know, I'm going to check out the Walkabout Nation here because I want to be a part of that as well. And maybe get some support from the rest of you guys, you know, moving forward. And it's great to have people like this in your life, you know, to be there for you. So appreciate all of you. And I just I'm a work in progress, I guess you could say, to make it short. So
I'm always here for you, brother.
Yeah, maybe this episode was for you
text me anytime.
Get you launch on that journey.
But let me tell you, man, losing your eyesight for a little bit, which I didn't lose it all the way, but I could not drive for like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't go to work or anything. And that scared me so bad, man, that I was just like the next day, you know, just like I'm ready to change everything. And my doctor was actually so surprised I'd brought my numbers down to like a 5.9 by the next time I went to the doctor, and then to a 5.5. So I'm doing pretty good there. But yeah, work in progress. So.
Yeah, that's all good news that all you guys are saying that you were able to bring your numbers down on your own. So it shows that you can do it, you know?
Yeah. And I'm
you don't
a
need
visual
medicine to do it. Exactly.
I'm a visual person, as you guys know. Like, I love to create. I love to do, you know, photography, video stuff, music. And when you think about losing your eyesight, man, that's bad news for somebody like me or anybody. But I haven't always been like this, you know. When I was in school, like high school, I've showed you guys pictures of myself. I was real skinny. I looked like a mixture between Eminem wannabe to a Backstreet Boy kind of, you know. So didn't really look like this. And you know, a lot of people that I went to school with, you know, they're kind of surprised by my look now, and they'll be like, "Oh, you've gained weight," and I'm like, "Yeah, you think so?" You know, like yeah, but
Yeah,
anyway,
well,
that's
you
about
hit
it.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, if it was that easy, everybody would be able to do it, and we'd never be in the situation we are. But
Yeah.
the discipline that it takes, and
Yeah.
you know, that's a whole goal in itself is just the discipline and just be able to say, okay, I know when we go to restaurants with my wife and daughter, I'm like, they look at me like, well, first of all, they'll look at like, can Dad even have anything here? And then, but it usually, I mean, everybody has a salad, so I'll
Same thing.
resort to eating a salad. But
Dude, and living, I know the Southern Scally Capper may have this problem as well, but living in the South doesn't help as well. You know, everything's like deep fried, sweet tea, everything, man. So it's kind of
yeah, I'll go ahead and hit on that part.
yeah.
All the fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and all that.
There you go, man.
Yeah. All right, so I'll go ahead and share my story then. You know, I've always, in high school, I played football, basketball, baseball. I was busy year round. I was actually a lineman in football. Basketball, I made the team just so they kept me in shape for baseball. And my coach was pretty aware of that. I mean, I was like the guy in practice that I was a little bit bigger. So I was just the guy in practice, you know, but kept me in shape for baseball. And that's the only reason why I made the basketball team is because I needed to play baseball. Coaches had that worked out. Only time I played was senior night, and let's say it worked. But that led me into doing more and getting the food and beverage industry, and did that. Before that, I was bouncing at a club, and so that's where, you know, back in the day, I had a pretty bad temper, and so my outlet was bouncing. I mean, it really was. It was like, okay, I can't get in trouble for it, so I might as well go ahead and do it. You know, but that was my mindset. And then I met my wife in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is where I did my bounces up in Detroit, and ended up meeting my wife. Long story short, like Dubs and Southern Scally Capper saying, the Southern food, I never had once a collard green until I moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and her mom started cooking Sunday dinners. You know, the fried foods. Next thing you know, I don't think other than football, I weighed probably like 280 when I played football. But then after I got done playing football, I got down to like low 200s. Yeah. And then I tasted that Southern cooking, and I went from low 200s to 300 really quick. And so, you know, and you lose sight of things. We had our daughter. I ended up getting a health journey with my daughter. You know, I never was really big until about 10 years ago. And I was playing basketball, and I had a basketball injury. I was out. I couldn't do anything for like a year and a half. And in that year and a half, I gained like 100 pounds. And finally got to the point to where my daughter started getting a relationship. She actually she's pretty well known in the bowling industry, and she got serious relationship. And my wife had to talk with me. She's like, if you keep on going the rate you're going, you'll never see her walk down the aisle. And that's when it hit home. And I was like, I got to do something. At that time, I was 430 pounds.
Wow.
When I first started watching you, you were pretty big. It's amazing how much you've lost.
It is, man.
And I'm 6'4". I was 430 pounds, and I just started walking. Started walking a mile a day.
Dude, on that, are you sure you're not 7 foot tall? Because when I saw you in Oklahoma, man, you made me look like a little fella, dude.
Yeah, he said that you're 5'9". I said he ain't no 5'9". He's listed at 5'9". If he's 6'4", he's listed at 5'9".
Yeah.
And you know, and it was just a great time to start walking, and that's all I could really do because I was so heavy. And you know, and I changed my eating habits. I started eating clean foods, eating chicken, turkey, I couldn't eat fish because I had gout issues, and so I ate a bunch of vegetables. And
Right.
just continued to walk it. And
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the healthy food you can't eat for another reason,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I then just started walking and went from 1 mile a day to 2 miles a day. And I ended up getting my way up to 10 miles a day. It took me a little over 2 hours, 2 hours 15, 2 hours 30 minutes to do it daily of walking 10 miles. I ended up but like Josh said, once you crack that 300, you're like, I mean, how far can I go down? And then I end up getting down to like 205, 210. And I have gained 25 pounds back, but I haven't changed my eating habits. Just I'm not walking. So now I'm starting to get back in that walking routine and getting back to where it was. But you know, the discipline and the determination, if I would have done it solo, I would never been able to do it. So like Dubs, like you were saying, when you're midnight eating or whatever it might be, or midnight eating, you know, it's always good to have somebody you can reach out to. And my phone's on me, and I do put you guys on mute quite a bit when I'm sleeping. But you know, I mean, I'm always there for anybody. A message, you know, I might not answer it that night, but I'll definitely respond because I know how much of a motivation factor it was for me getting messages and people in chat that I'm motivating them, like Ed said earlier on, and that ends up being your goal. It's no longer what you can do for yourself; it's what you can do for others. And and that's where it's at now. I got to get back on the journey. I tried doing the marathon thing. I wish I'd never stopped walking every day and did the marathon thing because marathon thing spurred up some injuries and it put me in the dilemma I'm in now. Luckily, it's only 25 pounds, not 50 pounds. But you know, I got a wedding to go to in June. And I know Chad really likes my pink suit, and I plan on wearing that in my pink at that wedding. And
Pepco pink suit.
Yeah, so that is where I'm at in life. And yeah, it's like I said, everybody we're a family. You really are a family, and you got to reach out to your family members for help. And there's no like there was a couple questions. I'm gonna get to these questions in chat here. I only got a couple of them that I pulled out, but and that's going to hit one of them. There's no way you succeed by being solo. You got to have a team.
Yeah, you do.
And,
Absolutely.
and that's not just going for weight loss or anything. That's going with life in general. You know,
for anything. Somebody or some people got to be in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know, back in the day, I always used to hear people talk like it takes a village to raise. You know, village raises kids. And then, I mean, that's kind of a rarity anymore to where a village even, you know, it used to be like, if you did something bad in your neighborhood, well, that person's going to tell your parents. And then now it's like, it's not even, it's if you do something bad in your neighborhood, they're like, all right, let's go get an ice cream. No. There's no discipline anymore. You know, so it's, but yeah, I do appreciate everybody being on though, for sure. I loved all the stories. And it looks like we had a donation by Sugar Daddy Jimmy. Oh, he sent me a monetary thing for Ace. It pours one out. Yeah, I did. For those of you who don't know, I lost my cat Ace.
Yeah, my condolences about that guy, buddy.
And,
for sure,
he was a staple in the channel, and he always he was always in the business for sure. But you know, it's I miss him, and luckily I had my daughter's pets these last couple of days and last week, and that's made that definitely a little bit easier to go by. And I know I'm going to struggle a little bit. You know, I started doing my reviews back. I'm doing them in our basement. I'm not doing them in this room just because this is actually the first time I've been in this room in over since Ace has left. But yeah, it's thank you, Jimmy C, for that. And I appreciate the thoughts and you know everything out there with Ace. I do appreciate it. All right, so I'm got a couple questions here that are in the chat that I pinned, and then we're going to go ahead and end the episode. This is a long episode, and I'm glad everybody stayed on here.
Hour and a half, man.
Yeah,
and, I told you guys. So that's an hour and a half for me.
Yeah. So, Chad, Chuck Flynn asked earlier on. My question is for Chad. Chad, did you have resentment against the guy that hit you, and how did you deal with that?
Oh, good question.
You know, I to be honest, I don't really even think about that at all. I don't know why I don't, but I don't really think about that at all. In hindsight, my injury, I think the experience of going through it and stuff, it has had a net positive for me, even though it's taken some stuff away from me and I'm dealing with chronic pain. It's really refocused my life and what's important to me. I just think I'm more fulfilled now. If that sounds strange.
All right. And thanks for that question there, Chuck. And then now I got Mugshots AZ. He's like, I'm down close to 50 pounds since beginning September by counting calories. Still haven't gotten into the gym, even though I got a membership. Any tips on how crossing that doorway for the first time?
Yeah, I'll pop in and answer that.
I'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Get up and just go.
Yeah. That's it. Because
listen, no shame, no worries about who's looking at you and what you look like. Oh, I'm the big guy, I'm the fat guy. Listen, we were all the fat guy walking into the gym.
Absolutely, we were. And again, when it gets inclement, you got to do something to keep up the routine.
Right? Once we're done with this, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. I'm going to be in the gym at 5. And then that's how my day starts. And it doesn't have to start that way for you. You know, go to the gym, whatever time you can carve out that 30 minutes, that 60 minutes, but make it happen. That's the important thing. And stick to it. You know, don't make excuses. Don't let the weather dissuade you. Don't let, life's responsibilities. My wife showed me a video the other day that says, we have hundreds of problems until your health is your problem, and that's the only problem you have.
Yep. Your health is your wealth. Without that, you don't really have much.
You got to prioritize. You have to prioritize it. Just go to the gym. Walk in, hit the treadmill, hit an elliptical machine. Whatever you're gonna do just to maintain activity and get yourself going, get the blood pumping again, and then you're gonna find yourself. I built a community around me in the gym just based on people with similar goals. You walk in there, you start doing your cardio, you start adding your weights. Next thing you know, you're building your community, rapport with other people. The other day, my wife and another couple of girls were laughing at us because me and 3 other guys were in there comparing knee injuries and what we do for our knee injuries, right? And the girls are all like, all right, we love the romance going on, but the class has to start. We're like, all right, we'll pick it up later, right? You find people you have stuff in common with, and it makes it a lot easier to just keep going back. So that's all you got to do. Just walk in there.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. The advice I give you, if you're just hesitant to walk in the gym, first of all, just do it like Ed had said. But just going up to a treadmill. There's always plenty of treadmills. That way you can kind of blend in. You can get you start loosening up on a treadmill. That'd be the first thing I would suggest is just get on that treadmill. And especially if you belong to the YMCA, just start walking that loop in the YMCA. And I guarantee somebody's going to approach you in the long run. And then you're going to form a relationship just like Caps did with all of us. You're going to form a relationship at your local gym with other people that are going to be doing the same thing, that have the same thoughts as yourself. So, and I hope that I was able to answer that question. Just get in there and do it. You'll find it. You'll find it, buddy.
I formed a relationship with the other old guys, and we make fun of the young people in there on their phones.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
There you go, man.
There's also some good sights in the gym that get you out there. Some ladies walking around there, a little motivation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're going to end up on a
Live
Joey
and
Swall
direct.
video, man.
Anybody in the group here have any other questions at all for anybody here?
I just have a comment for Dub. Dub,
I just want to thank everybody for sharing their stories. I've enjoyed listening to all of them.
Dub, we're all just a work in progress.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Just keep on the grind. And remember,
Appreciate it, man.
just go for a walk. It started with me for a walk, man.
Yeah.
And hit me up on the Facebook, and need anything, just let me know. So,
Will do.
I'd like to
Yes,
thank you
thanks a
guys
lot,
for having
man.
me on tonight.
It's interesting to see how many people have used walking to get back into condition. Myself, you, Moose. It works wonders.
Yeah, I go for walks around the lake. Yeah, I can't wait for the weather to break a little bit. Start walking again, man.
Yeah. That's another aspect of it, man. Winter time comes and you're kind of cooped up.
The winter.
Yeah.
This was a cold winter, too.
Yep.
The Northeast, at least. I know Chad was out there in negative 40 degrees with his dog.
I go out in all weather. I just bundle up.
Chad is an Arctic warrior, man.
Well, like you said earlier, I'll appreciate any weather now. And I thought I immediately thought of the negative 40,
Yeah.
video he put out.
Every day is a beautiful day.
Yeah.
That's right. When you're above this side of the ground, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have last things to say? Go round table here.
Thanks for having me on. I had a good time. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice meeting you all too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you fellas. Especially nice to meet Josh and Southern Scally Capper, Patrick. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Ed,
You guys.
again. Yep.
Thanks for sharing your stories.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. We finally got to talk to some of you guys. Josh and the Southern Scally Capper. Really appreciate you guys' engagement with my stuff online too. And I don't know what's going on our next episode. I know Friday, April 3rd, we got Boosted Brims coming on. So I can't wait for that. He's doing some incredible stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Todd Soren's going to come back on at some point, Moose.
Yeah, very soon. I'm waiting for him to give me the exact date. It looks like it'll be that Tuesday, next Tuesday, I believe.
Okay, so there might be some kind of rad cap drop coming up, and then I've been talking to all sorts of people. Mulligan Gear, when he comes back from Ireland, might pop on, talk about his trip. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming. Yeah, we got a lot of cool. I know Chad's been reaching out to Scallywags and Sean and Walker from the Scallywag show. I think they're doing a collab episode with them, which is going to be pretty cool around when Sean drops his beard oil. So we got some cool stuff coming up.
That episode won't be PG-13. I guarantee that.
No, that's going to be a rated R episode.
It will not be monetized.
It's going to be rated R, so there's going to be some drinking, you know. Kind of the antithesis, but.
All right, Chad, you got anything else to say, bud?
No, just again, happy to hear all your stories. Thanks for sharing them.
I agree, and we appreciate everybody for watching. The comments were great, and we'll definitely do some more shows like this in the future with more guests. I'm glad to see everybody did enjoy it. We were kind of reaching out of our comfort zone. I mean, really not a comfort zone, but just outside of our realm, I guess it would be.
Yeah, we got to make this like a series because I think a lot of people have stories along these lines.
And not just weight loss. It could be recovering from alcoholism. It could be recovering, drug addiction or anything like that. It could just be anything. And I think that we just make the world a better place when we bring people on here and share our stories. And
Absolutely.
But we do appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, thanks all of you guys for joining us tonight. It was great. Pleasure to meet you, Josh. Southern Scally Capper, go Patrick. Ed, of course, you always you're kind of like a normal with us now. You're like you're like, what's the guy's name from the Three Stooges? The fourth one. What was his name?
Champ. He's the champ. Well, I said Steve Martin from SNL because he was never a regular cast member. He was always on.
Yeah, right.
Always just popping up.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching. Thanks again for joining us. And we'll see everybody next time. And we'll just keep your eyes open on the Gentlemen's Roundtable Facebook page, and we'll keep you updated what's going on here with these live streams. All right, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a good night, guys.
You.
Take care.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.